are we providing the care to the quality that we expect of ourselves?
Okay. Why don't we move on to lessons learned, either from the people or just things you've picked up through your own experience?
That's tough. Let me see.
I could frame it a different way. Like if we think about it like the Instagram post of like what are the commonalities? Like, do you find that like, oh yeah, okay, this is very common. What you're expressing me is very common amongst people in your situation. Like there's sort of these their regrets or like common even celebrations or anything like that. Something that
So one thing I would say that I find to be very common, 'cause, where we live is a blue zone. People often live to the age of 100, not constantly, but often enough that it is notable and being tracked on a global scale with other blue zones around the world. And people who are there don't want to be here. I have rarely met somebody who is 99 or 100 who's like aiming for 105. I've met maybe one in multiple years of work
really.
uh, who like wanted to make it to, I think, 101. Like that number meant something to them. But almost everybody else is exhausted and they want out. And I've had multiple sessions where people are looking at the ceiling and being like, what do I have to do to get your attention? I want to go home. So I would say that the lesson learned there is, there is sort of a narrative that we are fed often by media that there's like a rat race for immortality. Like people who are out there living their lives are not running it.
Mm,
That is fully fictional. So kind of the stress of, living to X or Y. So once you get to that point, people are ready to go home. And I personally find it to be a very reassuring thing that people are not regretting if I could just live a little bit longer. People are done and they're ready to go see everybody that they love or whatever version of, the next step they believe in. People are ready. So
yeah.
I would say take some solace in the fact that like your body is often ready for that next big step, whatever it is. You know, for those of us that are lucky to get close to that point. Even people that are 80 often are over. The other thing that I see often, a lot of families are in no way ready. People are very scared to have these conversations about not just, what happens when Nana or mom, gets older and passes, but like the realities of it. What do they want? What, kind of funeral plan do they want? Do they want to be cremated? Do they want for people to be there with them at the end, or do they want that to be private? Like there's a lot of times where if the person is not able to speak for themselves, the family doesn't know, and then there's a ton of guesswork and there's a lot of worry that they're getting it wrong. It can be tough by really having those conversations, because the people who have just move forward and they can focus on being there for each other and grieving however they're going to grieve and not worrying that they're doing the right thing or the respectful thing for their loved one. That's not easy for everybody, but I would encourage people to normalize what is normal and inevitable.
That was that's a good segue because that was something that struck me about you when we started talking about what you do when we met, and you just seemed really comfortable. And I think you even said this, like, I'm just comfortable talking about death. Like, death is not a taboo, and it is everywhere. I think in this country, at least, like, you just don't
In this
talk
country,
about it. Yeah.
yeah.
But you've always been comfortable with it.